Okay, now that we have the starter strip down, we need next to turn our attention to the Gable Cleat. And this is the profile of the Gable Cleat. You can see it has a hem that kicks out. This little flange will go on top of the roof deck. And I have here a sliding T-bevel, and what I use this for is to set it at the predetermined pitch on the roof. I can set it on the roof, or I can use a roof pitch finder and set it for the particular angle. On this particular roof, it's a 5/12 pitch. And then I'm able to come down to my corner and set that on the piece and mark my line on the gable edge trim, or the gable cleat, that is right in line with the edge of the starter strip. So you can see I've attached the cleat. I'm going to put screws 1 foot, every 1 foot. And then I'm ready to go ahead and install my first panel. I need to say that the panels are shipped, cut to length. And in order for us to do that at the factory, we need to know the exact distance from the ridge to the eave. And then we're going to add 2.5 inches. The lip on this starter strip sticks out 1.25 inches. So I've got to make up that distance and then fold it down under and around. So that's another 1.25 inches for a total of 2.5 inches. So the distance of the panel shipped is going to be about 2.5 inches beyond the distance of the eave to the ridge. Now I'm going to need to cut both the lock and the rib off of this panel. And it needs to be about 1.25 inches. A metal ruler is 1 inch wide, so I can mark with it and know that I needed to go just a little beyond it. Ideally, I want to cut just a little bit more off of the rib than the outer lock, because I want this to be slightly recessed. You can see here's a situation where right-handed snips really come in handy. At this point, I want to take a folding tool. This particular piece is made by Melco. It's 12 inches wide, and it has a receiving channel here that's 1 inch deep. I want to make sure I bend it all the way under. And that's what the underturned hem is going to look like. I may need to close it just a little. Now I'm able to cut over the starter strip. Now once I have that fully seated, I'm going to come up to the very top of the panel and I'm going to install 2 screws. Sometimes I like to start my screws with a hammer. Maybe just come down about 1/2 inch or so from the top. I'm ready to take my clips, and there are 3 pre-drilled holes in the clip. I want to use 2 of those, the 2 outer holes. Okay, the next step in putting together the gable system is to use what's called a z-cleat, and you can see easily why it's called a z-cleat. This cleat, which I've already cut to length from the eave to the ridge, needs to come in 4 inches from the edge of the gable cleat. And so I'm going to go 4 inches from there to this very edge of the z-cleat. And I'm simply going to make a mark on my panel where that's at. And then at the top, I need to do the same thing. Make sure that this is at 4 inches. And likewise, I'm going to make a mark. This is a pretty critical measurement. You want to make sure that you are pretty exact, because the gable edge trim is going to snap over this hem, comes out, and snaps over this z-cleat. Okay, at this point I want to stop for a couple of seconds and make a few comments about making the gable assembly watertight. You might have noticed that in our demonstration here that I simply attached the z-cleat directly down through the panel into the deck. But in reality, if this was an actual installation, I would want to make sure that I had some kind of sealant underneath my z-cleat. And there's a couple of ways that I can do that. I can use butyl tape, which is simply going to adhere to the z-cleat, and then I'm going to peel back the strip, and I'll be able to turn the strip then over, and it's going to set right in place where I need it to, and allow me a hands-free, I don't have to be holding the piece in order to drive my screws down through the z-cleat into the deck. Another option would be to use some kind of sealant, silicone sealant preferably, or butyl rubber sealant, and run that down the entire length of the z-cleat, maybe a 3/8 inch wide bead, and then again be able to turn that upside down and place it into position with this top edge 4 inches from the gable cleat. And then again come back and drill my screws on down through the z-cleat, through the panel, and into the deck. A final option, which is not as good, would be to attach the z-cleat and then come afterwards and run a bead of sealant where the z-cleat intersects with the roofing panel. That probably is not the best way to go. Usually best to apply the sealant first and then put the z-cleat down.